The docking bay of Station Orion was alive with movement. Ships of every shape and color hummed, gliding past each other in a dance of meticulous chaos. Among the bustling crowd, a young human pilot named Eli adjusted the straps of his worn flight jacket, feeling the pressure of the station's energy buzzing against his skin. Eli wasn't rich. He wasn't famous. He was just a pilot, making deliveries across the outer rim, trying to scrape by in a galaxy that often seemed indifferent to those who weren't powerful or connected. He was about to head to a small cargo shuttle when he noticed a commotion near one of the side corridors. A figure had stumbled, her cloak catching on a railing. The crowd around her hesitated, murmuring in alien tongues Eli didn't understand. Some stepped back. A few whispered urgently to each other. She was tall, her presence commanding, yet fragile in that moment as she struggled to regain her balance. Her hair shimmered like spun silver, and her eyes, Eli would remember them forever, glowed with a pale, almost ethereal light. Without thinking, Eli stepped forward. "Do you need help?" he asked. His voice was calm, though his heart thumped in a nervous rhythm. The alien woman turned to him, her eyes widening in surprise. The crowd seemed to part instinctively, creating a small path around them. She nodded, her voice melodic but faint. "Yes, thank you." Eli offered his hand, and she took it, delicate yet strong. The moment her hand touched his, he felt a strange warmth, like the gentle pulse of energy. He helped her steady herself, making sure she wasn't hurt. Around them, the murmuring continued. Some stared openly, others whispered in shock. Eli didn't understand why he was only doing what any decent person would do. "Are you all right?" he asked again. I think so," she said. Her gaze softened, and she smiled faintly. It wasn't a smile for the crowd, it was a smile for him, and it made the air feel lighter. "Thank you for helping me." "Of course," Eli replied, shrugging awkwardly. "I see people stumble all the time. Someone should do something." She tilted her head slightly, as if studying him. "You are human." "Yes," Eli said, a hint of pride creeping into his voice. "And you are." Her eyes flickered with amusement, though her expression remained calm. "I am called Leora," she said. They didn't have time for more introductions. A sudden tremor shook the station, and the crowd around them scattered. Alarms blared, red lights flashing across the docking bay. Eli's instincts kicked in. He grabbed Leora's hand. "Stay close to me," he shouted. Ships and workers scrambled as a freighter from the outer colonies had lost control, crashing dangerously close to the bay. Eli's training took over. He guided Leora behind a stack of containers, shielding her from debris as sparks flew around them. Her hands were light on his arm, but steady, and she didn't panic. In that moment, Eli felt a strange connection, a sense of trust that went beyond words. When the chaos subsided, Eli finally let out a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. Leora stood beside him, brushing off a few flecks of debris from her cloak. "You have courage," she said quietly. "Few would risk themselves for someone they barely know." Eli laughed softly. "I'm not exactly the bravest, but I don't like seeing people get hurt." Her smile deepened, and for the first time, Eli noticed the subtle elegance in her posture, the way she carried herself despite the danger and the attention from everyone around. "You are remarkable, human," she said, her voice sincere. Eli's cheeks warmed. "Thanks." I guess for the next few days, Leora remained in the station. Eli kept seeing her in passing, sometimes in the mess hall, sometimes near the control decks. Each time, she seemed out of place, not because she was alien, but because she moved through the chaos as if the world bent around her will. People gave her space, lowering their voices when she passed. Eli noticed that some workers exchanged glances when they saw him near her. He didn't understand why. It wasn't until the third day that he learned the truth. Eli had just finished calibrating a shuttle for a long-range delivery, when a small crowd gathered outside the docking bay entrance. A few guards in ceremonial armor approached, bowing deeply. Eli glanced at them, confused. Leora appeared behind them, walking with grace but no visible guard beside her. "Eli," she called softly, and he turned. "Leora, are you all right?" he asked, stepping closer. She nodded. "I am well. I need your assistance." "Of course, anything you need." She gestured toward a heavily secured shuttle. "I must reach the core of the station. I cannot go alone. Will you help me?" Eli hesitated. Something about the urgency in her tone made him forget the whispers of the crowd. "Of course," he said, moving to guide her. As they walked, the guards gave them a wide berth. Eli noticed that people stared, some with awe, some with barely concealed fear. He couldn't understand why. "Why is everyone looking at us like that?" he asked quietly. Leora glanced at him, her eyes glimmering. "Because they know who I am. I am the sovereign of the Luminaris, the wealthiest and most influential family in this sector." Eli's jaw dropped slightly. He had heard of the Luminaria dynasty, said to control trade routes, energy mines, and entire colonies. But he never imagined he would meet one of them, let alone be asked to help her personally. You're the richest in the galaxy?" he asked, trying to hide the disbelief in his voice. She smiled faintly. "Yes, but wealth does not protect me from small accidents, or from the kindness of strangers." Eli felt a strange mix of awe and humility. Here was a queen, a sovereign who commanded fleets and fortunes, yet she had trusted him simply because he had offered his hand when she stumbled. He realized then that no amount of wealth could replace bravery or compassion. They reached the core of the station, where a control terminal blinked urgently. Leora stepped forward, inputting commands with precision. Eli stayed close, keeping an eye on the A sudden alert flashed across the screen. A power surge threatened to overload the station's central reactor. "I need to stabilize it," Leora said, her voice calm but urgent. "I cannot do it alone." Eli glanced at the controls. "I'll help. Show me what to do." For the next hour, they worked in perfect sync. Leora guided him through alien protocols, her instructions precise yet patient. He followed her lead, adjusting power nodes, rerouting energy flows, and monitoring pressure levels. Sparks flew, alarms blared, and every second felt like an eternity. Yet Leora never panicked. Her confidence was contagious, and Eli found himself moving with a focus he didn't know he possessed. Finally, the surge stabilized. The alarms ceased, and the terminal lights turned green. Eli exhaled, wiping sweat from his brow. Leora looked at him, her eyes glowing softly in the dim light. "You have saved more than just a station today," she said. "You have saved countless lives, and perhaps even my own." Eli shook his head. "I was just doing what anyone would do." "Not anyone," she said gently. "Few would act without fear, without hesitation, for someone they barely knew." He laughed softly. "Guess I'm braver than I thought." Her gaze lingered on him, and for a moment, the world outside their little control room disappeared. "Eli, I owe you a debt that cannot be repaid with credits or titles." "You don't have to," he said quietly, a smile tugging at his lips. "But I will," she said, her voice firm. "When we leave this station, I want you to know that your kindness will not go unnoticed. You have the heart of a true protector, and I will make sure it is honored." In the days that followed, Eli and Leora spent time together beyond duty. They shared meals in the mess hall, navigated crowded markets, and even piloted shuttles together through asteroid fields. Eli learned about the intricacies of interstellar politics, the vast influence of the Luminari, and the subtle pressures that came with such wealth. Yet, despite it all, Leora treated him as an equal, never condescending, never distant. One evening, as they watched the stars from the observation deck, Leora turned to him. "You have shown me a truth I often forget," she said softly, "that wealth and power are meaningless without trust, compassion, and courage. You, Eli, have reminded me of the value of humanity." He chuckled lightly. "I'm just a pilot. I'm not sure I deserve all that praise." "You do," she insisted, her voice firm yet gentle, "because you acted without thinking of reward. You acted because it was right. That is a rarity, Eli. A rarity even among your kind." He looked out at the stars, feeling the weight of her words. "I guess helping you was the right thing to do. But I never imagined it would mean so much." She smiled, and for the first time, Eli saw a hint of vulnerability in her eyes, a fleeting glimpse behind the armor of royalty. "Sometimes, the simplest acts carry the greatest weight," she whispered. As the station rotated slowly, lights shimmering across the hull, Eli realized that his life had changed in ways he could not yet fully comprehend. He had met a queen, saved a station, and discovered that courage and kindness could outshine even the greatest fortunes in the galaxy. And for Eli, that was more than enough. When they finally departed the station together, heading toward uncharted space on a mission that would later make history, Eli piloted their ship with Leora beside him. The galaxy stretched out before them, vast, mysterious, and full of danger. But for the first time, Eli didn't feel small. He had a queen by his side, not because of wealth or power, but because he had shown what it truly meant to be a